Welcome back to the NETRUSH Report, your home for the most dramatic, emotional, and powerful stories in world tennis. If you love deep dives into the rivalries, resilience, and raw realities behind the sport's biggest names, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another emotional twist from the tennis world. Now let's get into it. It was supposed to be a breakthrough week for Poland's Magdalena Frech. The 27-year-old had just defeated Weronika Kudermetova, one of the hardest hitters on tour, and was leading Karolina Muchova before getting a walkover into the third round. The stage was set for another upset. Frech was up 4-1 in both sets against Laura Siegemund, but what followed was a complete collapse. She lost 6-4, 7, 6, 2. Fans didn't hold back. Social media lit up with brutal comments, calling her mentally weak, a choker, even unfit for WTA 1000 competition. But Frech wasn't about to stay silent. After the match, Frech posted an emotional message that quickly went viral. "I'm not a machine. I know people expect us to perform like robots. But the truth is, conditions were extreme. We were melting out there." She went on to accuse the Wuhan Open organizers of brutal scheduling, pointing out that matches were often pushed into mid-afternoon slots when temperatures exceeded 30 degrees Celsius, with humidity making it feel even hotter. "We are athletes, not machines. You can't expect us to deliver quality tennis when the main challenge is to breathe." Those words resonated, because Frech wasn't alone. For those who've never played under 33 degrees Celsius heat with high humidity, imagine standing on a stove, wrapped in a wet towel, swinging a racket for 2 hours. That's what players in Wuhan have been enduring. Several matches saw medical timeouts due to exhaustion. Players were visibly drenched by the second game. Trainers were seen handing out ice towels and cold compresses between changeovers. One WTA insider described it as the toughest physical test outside the Australian Open's hottest days. And the timing couldn't be worse. After long travel schedules and tight calendar windows post-Beijing, players are physically and mentally fried. When Frech spoke up, others quickly echoed her concerns. Emma Raducanu, who has been rebuilding her career this season, said earlier in Wuhan, "Sometimes, it feels like we're asked to ignore basic human limits. Playing at 2 p.m. in 33 degrees with 80% humidity isn't sport, it's survival." IGA Swiatek, who has always been vocal about player welfare, added, "The schedule doesn't always protect us. People see us as performers, but they forget, we feel the same fatigue, the same heat. The body can only take so much." Bianca Andreescu, who's battled her own physical setbacks, also spoke out. "The humidity is brutal. You walk onto the court and start sweating before you even hit the first serve. It's hard to focus, hard to breathe. I respect anyone who finishes a match here." This isn't the first time players have raised concerns about conditions in Asia's fall swing. But Frech's emotional plea hit differently, because she framed it not as an excuse, but as a wake-up call. For many fans, the narrative was simple: Frech choked. She had big leads, she let them slip. End of story. But for players, it was more complex. Professional tennis at the elite level isn't just about skill. It's about endurance, control, and body regulation. When temperatures soar, concentration fades. Muscles tighten. Hydration becomes impossible to manage. Even the greats have faltered in similar conditions. Remember Novak Djokovic's heat collapse in Melbourne years ago? Or the US Open matches where players could barely stand between points? Frech's frustration wasn't just about losing. It was about being judged by people who've never felt what she felt on court that day. So, what's going on behind the scenes at Wuhan? According to tournament sources, the scheduling chaos came down to broadcasting priorities and limited evening slots. Matches often had to be played in peak heat hours to fit TV windows for European audiences. The WTA has temperature safety policies, but the enforcement varies by location. While the ADP introduced heat rules years ago, the WTA system depends on referee discretion and player requests for breaks. A WTA representative reportedly said that conditions were within acceptable thresholds. But for players like Frech, acceptable isn't the same as safe. For Frech, this wasn't just another match. It was the continuation of a tough Asian swing that started in Beijing, where she lost to Germany's Ella Seidel in the first round, 7-5, 6-4. After that early exit, she regrouped. In Wuhan, she found her rhythm, beating Veronika Kudermetova in a 3-set battle that tested both skill and stamina. Then came her match against Karolina Machova, where she was leading comfortably before Machova retired mid-match. Everything was finally clicking, until the clash with Laura Siegemund. 2 leads lost, a set point missed, a storm of criticism, and then, that now famous declaration, "I am not a machine." It's easy to forget that behind every ranking, every scoreline, there's a human being. Frech, currently ranked world number 53, has fought her way up without the luxury of big sponsors or top-tier academy backing. She's been grinding week after week, often without the spotlight or comfort that top players get. When the hate poured in online, many expected her to stay quiet. But she didn't. In doing so, she opened a wider conversation, not just about heat or scheduling, but about empathy in sports fandom. "You can criticize the result," one fellow player said anonymously, "but you should never dehumanize the athlete." This controversy is part of a larger issue the sport can't ignore. Global warming is pushing temperatures higher during key tournament months. From Melbourne to Miami, from Rome to Wuhan, organizers are struggling to adapt. Roofed stadiums, night sessions, and heat policies can only do so much. But as seasons extend and media contracts tighten schedules, players are being asked to perform in conditions that border on dangerous. Even physiologists have warned that extreme humidity can impair mental focus, delay reaction times, and raise risk of heat stroke. In Wuhan, where humidity levels hover around 75 to 80%, the human body's natural cooling system simply can't keep up. Frech's loss to Siegemund wasn't just physical. It was mental chaos in real time. You could see it. Her serve speeds dropping, her shoulders tightening, her pacing between points slowing down. Every breath was a struggle. Every mistake multiplied under the weight of fatigue. When Siegemund started clawing back, Frech's focus fractured, the telltale sign of dehydration and heat stress. And once momentum shifted, the match became a spiral she couldn't escape. It wasn't about choking. It was about the body saying, "Enough." In the days since her statement, Frech has received mixed reactions. Some fans have applauded her honesty. Others have accused her of making excuses. But what stands out is that more players are now speaking up, something that rarely happened in previous years. In a sport where silence is often mistaken for professionalism, Frech's words have opened a door. She might not have won the match, but she may have started a movement. The WTA has yet to issue a formal comment addressing Frech's statement specifically. However, discussions are reportedly underway about revisiting the extreme weather protocols for Asian tournaments. Possible changes could include mandatory late evening scheduling during high heat forecasts, cooling breaks between sets, real-time temperature thresholds leading to match suspensions. If implemented, these changes could protect players and prevent future controversies. But as always, action will speak louder than statements. In a sport dominated by stars and silence, Magdalena Frech's voice cuts through. She isn't a Grand Slam champion or a media darling. She's a fighter from Poland who has built her career match by match, week by week. When she says, "I am not a machine," she's not just speaking for herself. She's speaking for every athlete who's been told to tough it out. For every woman who's been told emotion equals weakness. For every player who's been pushed past the point of exhaustion, just to satisfy a schedule. Sometimes, it takes one tired, brave voice to make the world listen. Whether she climbs higher in rankings or not, Frech's stand will be remembered, because she chose honesty over image and health over silence. In the end, maybe that's what tennis needs more than ever, not perfect players, but real ones. Magdalena Frech didn't win the Wuhan Open, but she may have sparked something more important than a trophy. A conversation about humanity in a sport that often forgets it. Because no matter how powerful the serve or how strong the will, even champions are human. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can say is, "I am not a machine." If you believe player safety and empathy should come before everything, hit like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the NETRUSH Report for more deep, emotional dives into the stories that shape the soul of tennis. Until next time, stay passionate, stay kind, and keep your eyes on the court. This is the NETRUSH Report, where every point has a story.